Hi everyone and welcome to Hobby World. Today we're going to work on a 3D printed drag race strip for slot cars. And being a bit more specific, this episode is about how we can prevent slot cars like this from driving all the way down along this racetrack and hitting that wall in the end there, thereby being destroyed. So to sum up, this episode is about how we can slow down and stop a slot car like this as efficiently as possible, so we don't end up breaking the car. Before we proceed with the project, let's just take a quick overview of everything. This is a 3D printed drag race strip I am currently working on. I need to finish this before winter sets in and it gets really cold out here, so I need to use this for summer next year. And a drag race strip for slot cars is designed the way that we, in this case, has two cars, meaning two competitors that will each stand right here at this end of the track, and then they'll get a signal that says they can go, and then they just need to get their car as fast as they can all the way down here to this couple of sensors that is located right here, 6 meters from the beginning. And then I need to brake the car on the last short area here, and that is the challenge. So to prevent a nice looking slot car like this from just keep driving and driving, the first thing that came into my mind was we just cut the power. So the driver will of course have the throttle all the way down to get maximum speed, but he will probably not be fast enough to stop the car himself after he has reached the finish line, which is right here. This is the sensor that registers that the car has passed the finish line. So I designed a track where we leave a gap between the copper pieces. So after this track there is no power in the copper tape. Thereby the car won't get any power and it should hopefully stop just by the drag caused by the friction between the wheels and the track here. So let's just test that. If we cut the power, the car should hopefully stop, or else we have a major problem. So I know that is pretty basic, but let's just do a test anyway. We've located the car in the drag race strip and in its position. I have a small power supply down here, and when I turn on the power, the car should hopefully drive all the way to the end of the track. And that looked quite nice. It even stopped before the wall because I didn't hear any bumps or something like that. So now that we know we can stop the car by cutting the power, that seemed of course pretty simple. We need to figure out something else, because that will of course work, but I'm pretty sure this car is going to drive much faster than what I just showed you there. So I have been considering a thing. I don't know if this is going to work, but I have considered. This is an electronic engine, and as far as I know, if I make this engine drive around, it will generate power. If it generates power, it will use some energy and thereby brake. So I considered connecting all of the copper wire on this track together, thereby making the car, as soon as it passes the sensor over here, making it generate power using the engine as a generator and thereby slowing it down. I don't know if this works, but it's definitely worth testing. So I've set up a test for this. First I'm going to race this car 20 times along that track and figure out at a set voltage and figure out where it stops. When I have done that, I am going to apply copper tape between all of these track pieces over here so they are connected, and thereby making the car engine work as a generator. In principle, I don't know if it will work, and see if the car brakes earlier than before. So just going to do that test. So now I'm going to run this car at least 20 times and see if I can get a fixed point so it brakes between the same area over here each time. After that, copper tape on the track and see if we can make that work. So I have run this car for 20 times now, and each time, unless it fell off the track, it has stopped between these 2 points I'm marking here with my fingers. So that is pretty good. So I'm keeping that voltage on the power supply, and then I'm going to add some copper tape and connect all of these track pieces here and see if this has any influence of the car braking or slowing down. So that's it, track all taped up, and I am very excited if this is going to work. I actually have no idea. This is just a small test. We remember the car stopped around this area the last 20 tries, so let's try starting up the car again and seeing where it ends. So everything's set up for the first test where we can see if we can engine brake this car, and I have no clue if this is going to work. I just thought that it might, and I saw a couple of posts on some forum where people said that it could work. So I decided to try it, and now we are ready for the first test. So let's power on this car and see if it can get as far as it could the other times. Remember, I did 20 tries where I set the power supply so the car stopped almost exactly the same time. So I'm of course going to do several tries with this also to see if the car stops, and hopefully it will stop before the marker down in the other end. So let's power it on and see what happens. That's actually pretty interesting, because when I just look here, it looks like it stopped a bit earlier, and that's pretty fine. But the sound, it's strange. It sounded a bit strange or different than before. It almost sounded like it braked. And if we take a look here, we can see that it's not within the margin. It's not much, but it might be that this has slowed the car down. So let's do some more rolls on this and see what happens. Yeah, once again, it has definitely stopped the car before. Not by much, but it has stopped before. So I'm just going to keep trying here and then see what how all this goes along. I actually didn't expect this to do very much or anything at all, but it's only these 3 strips where the car will actually engine brake. So if it just brakes a tiny bit, the last 2.5 strip here will also give it a kind of a boost for braking the car. Well, after these tries, it looks like it made a kind of a difference. The car didn't pass this finger any time, and when I tested it before, it sometimes got all the way over here in this area. So it might have made a difference. Not a very large one, but it might have made a small difference. Not something significant though. So it might help if we added some kind of resistance the engine needed to power, and I actually don't know if this has worked at all, but it looks like it brakes the car just a tiny bit. That was just a test. I wanted to see if this could do anything, and it definitely hasn't harmed or made the car go faster. So I'm going to stick with this. This is a part of the layout. We are braking the power here, and then if it even does so, we are making an engine brake all the way down here until the wall. But I need some kind of fail-proof solution to stopping that car before it damages itself in the wall. So the fail-proof solution for this, for stopping the car without damaging it, is to build a box where I have installed some of this foam. This is foam for sound absorption, and it is very soft. So hopefully, if the car reaches the box and hits this, it won't get damaged. So right now I am going out in the workshop to build a box that fits on the end tracks down there, and then I'm going to install this foam inside it in several layers, especially on the back wall, but also on the sides and on the roof of the box, so the car, if it starts jumping around in there, it won't get damaged. And I am also going to make the roof detachable, probably using magnets, so it can be easily removed and you can retrieve your car and then put back the lid of the box. So let's get that done. I have just entered my workshop and I found some spare pieces of wood I had laying around. This is some MDF board, 22mm, and I'm going to build the framework of the box of this, and then I'm going to build a lid in something that's a bit thinner. This is my box, or more or less this is the main parts of the box, 4 pieces, and the front over here I have made a cutout. This I'll use a jigsaw to cut this piece out. This is the same width as the tracks and the lanes, so the cars will simply enter here, get into this box that is all foamed up on the inside to prevent the car from taking any damage. This is the last final possibility of stopping the car without it getting damaged, so this will hopefully work, and I'm pretty confident that it will. But let's get this cut out and assemble all of this. I'm going to use dowels and wood glue, and then I'm going to make a top cover plate for it. Well, we are ready to do some of the testing now, and that is the exciting part. We have this drag race strip, and at the end I have finished this box that's going to capture the cars. This box has a couple of hinges, so we can easily open it up, pick up the cars after the race, remove them and reposition them back on the track so we can race again. The box has been padded on the inside with this very soft foam, so the cars hopefully won't get any damages. I'm a bit worried about 2 cars because they might hit each other in here if they start bumping around. But let's see on the test how much speed they actually carry when entering this, because this setup here actually has 3 stopping mechanisms for the cars. First of all, we cut the power right after they have reached the goal line. That will start slowing the car. Then I have this braking zone where the car's engine will work as a generator, thereby slowing it down further. And that actually worked pretty well when I tested it. It didn't seem like that much, but I believe that it actually gives some kind of braking to the car, and if the strip had been a bit longer, it would have stopped the car completely. This is the final, this is the fail-safe, this is the place where all of the cars will be stopped to avoid any damages. So let's test it, see what happens. Run a car down the lane and see how far it gets and how hard it hits the back wall of this one, if it even reaches this. So yeah, let's power it on. So there's only one thing left to do, and that's test the system and see if everything works as it should. Testing is fairly simple. It's just adding some power to the track and seeing that car race down there, and observing if it gets stopped by all the features I've added down there to brake it. So let's turn on the power and see the car race down there and hopefully get stopped. Well, that seemed like a pretty decent run, so let's just check on the car down here and see if everything's okay. I didn't hear any crashes, so I believe it is. Opening up the box, and we can see the car placed right here. It's still in the track, so it's probably just did a soft bump against this foam up here and drifted back a tiny bit. No damage done, none at all. This looks very nice. So I believe this works, and that's perfect, because then I can progress with the work on the drag race strip and getting this completely finished. Well, I don't know if it was possible hearing during the video, but the car made a lot of wheel spin when driving on the drag race strip. And I believe the reason for this is that the rubber on the tires was pretty stiff. This is due to the heat in here, or I should rather say the cold. The room is beginning to get rather cold, and this is due to winter, of course, and I'm not heating up in here due to high energy prices. So basically I am going to use my slot car room during summer, where I can heat it for a reasonable price, and during winter I'm going to maintain and build on it. So that's probably the reason for the wheel spin. I expect it to be much less spinning around when the temperatures rise a bit. I might end up heating the room for special occasions, but basically this is going to be a summer thing. A quick side note on the project: as you might have noticed during the videos, I have increased the amount of these cabinets hanging on the wall while working on the drag race strip. The general idea is that I want the cabinets all along the wall above the drag race strip for storing my slot car tracks, and so far I've managed to do 4 cabinets. They are 3D printed and have taken up a lot of time making, so it just takes some time because I need to print them, assemble them and put them up on the wall, and after everything's complete I'm going to hide those wires so it ends up looking really nice. You can also see I have wires along the drag race strip here, and it's just a huge mess. So, but I just wanted to say a couple of words about these because I have the cars stored up here and this actually looks really nice. It makes you want to assemble or collect these cars when you have them placed like this, and I can always find the car I'm looking for, so it's much better. Right now they're stored in boxes below the tracks, so this way they are really shown, and I like that. The stands for the cars they are mounted in are my own design. I have designed it and 3D printed them, and I'm going to do a video about that project, and I'm going to share the files so everyone interested can print their own. And I made a version 2 of these stands. I just wanted to show you over here. These cars are placed in the version 2 stand with a small sign. So here you can add a sign with the cars' names, and that also works really well, and it helps align the cars along the front so they are placed in the same angle, all of them. So I just wanted to show you this. I'm really happy about how they turned out. This looks really amazing. So that's all part of getting the room finished. Just to round off the video, a couple of teasers on what's next with this project. First of all, I'm going to get all these street lights working. They are more or less prepared for it, so I just need to collect all of the wires, but there are lots of wires below this table. So I'm going to get the street lights working, and I'm going to get the traffic lights working too. I have already worked a bit on a program that can control them. After that, I'm going to connect the control system and the software that keeps track of the races, and then we can start racing and testing the track. All of this absolutely needs to be finished for summer, because we are definitely going to hold some events and competitions on this track. And when all of that stuff is ready, and I actually don't expect it to take that long to finish, it's fairly simple, everything's prepared for it. But when all of that is complete, I'm going to start building the buildings and the scenery behind the track up along this wall, and I am looking so much forward to that. I really enjoy working with models and painting miniatures and painting models and installing lights and making the track come alive. For me, that's an important part of slot car racing. Building the track and making it look like something that's real and making it look interesting is for me just as much part of the hobby as actually racing and driving on it, even though it is really fun competing with other people. That's about it for this time. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing to the channel, leave a like, and I promise you there will be a lot of more inspiring material on the channel soon. I am working on so many projects and I really enjoy sharing them. So there will be a lot more with slot cars, there will be a lot more with classical hobbies, arcade machine, 3D printing, miniature painting, making collectible models and so on. It's only the imagination that actually limits what we can do here on the channel. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and if you have any feedback, comments or suggestions, write them down in the comment section below. I have always appreciated when people write comments. I enjoy reading them and I enjoy answering them all. So leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and thank you all for watching. Have a great day, everyone.